Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about what goes into choosing a site. Let's get to it.
It's time for us to discuss what goes into choosing a space. Some of these variables you will be able to decide, while others you may not. One of the first aspects is whether you are coming into the project with a concept or a space in mind. If the concept comes first, then you need to take additional steps to ensure the space is appropriate for the work you intend to create. If the space comes first, you need to be open to what working in that space means and what that means for your project.
Something that is very important in site-specific work is not only the relationship that you have with the space, but also with those who actually own the space. This can mean getting permits or permission to be on land or on these sites. Having open communication with these owners are very important, especially if you're selling any kinds of tickets, selling alcohol at a reception, or collecting any money in general. In the words of Julie Tepperman from Convergence Theater,
and that means respecting the spaces you're in and the people who own them and manage them, and making sure that we're adaptable so they have what they need to continue to function as a business or just to be able to use their own space. And because recognizing there's a bunch of adapting that they're already doing by saying yes to us, a huge amount of accommodation. How can we continue to offer that so it's not a burden, that it's more a pleasure that we're there?
So we know where we are working should be relevant to the show, as it is essentially another character with which the audience experiences the piece.
Regardless of whether you've chosen your site or it's a site that's been assigned to you, you want to understand the site that you're working with. For example, what is the history of this space? What stories already exist here? What does this location represent to people who know this space intimately? Some of this information are things that you will discover when you are physically in your site, and some of this is work that you can do beforehand in preparation. Take a moment now to listen to an audio project by Frog in Hand collaborator Alice Kavanaugh. In this audio clip, Alice will walk you through the lived history of your home. Now, you can walk through your home physically as you listen, or you're welcome to stay stationary and picture it in your mind's eye. You'll find a link to Alice's audio project in the description below. Pause this video, listen to the audio clip, and then return.
Safety zone. While you're analyzing your space for inspiration, there are a number of other production and safety elements to consider as well. For example, check the structural stability of anything you wish to interact with: walls, furniture, trees, or anything else that may come into play. Make sure the floor is clear of anything harmful, especially if you intend to have anyone present in bare feet. Check as well for anything that affects the conditions of the ground, such as water or loose earth making the floor slippery, as this affects the ability of your performers and audience to move through the space. Be sure to repeat this process on a regular basis, especially as you begin to add your own elements to the space. For example, any electrical cables or wiring needs to be taped down, covered, or moved out of the way in order to ensure that it does not pose a tripping hazard. If you're working indoors, then you've got some additional control over your audience's experience, though not always. If your production is indoors, then you've got some additional control over your audience's experience, though not always. If you are performing in a public space, then anything you leave in a space will likely need a crew member to be present keeping an eye on it. If the space is private, then you may make modifications as necessary to achieve your aims. You may still need crew members in certain locations to avoid unwanted interactions, though this will depend on your choice of style and site-specific work. If you are working outdoors, then there are some additional technical challenges that may await you. If you are performing during the night, for instance, you need some way to provide illumination for your performers and audience. In addition, getting power to where you are performing may prove a challenge depending on the location in question. Weather also becomes a major factor in outdoors work, so always be sure to check what is expected and prepare accordingly. Sometimes this will mean canceling a show, but better that than an injury sustained in the course of performing or experiencing the work.
That was a lot of wonderful information. To finish off this video, we're going to do another task. So first of all, choose a site. This can be the same site that you used in our previous video or an entirely new one, entirely your choice. And begin again by looking around your location. What kind of space is this? Your bedroom, a classroom, an open field? Like in Alice's audio journey, consider the history of this space and what kinds of stories have already happened here in the past. If your space is currently in use, how is it being used today? For this task, you are going to take inspiration from the history and practical uses of this space for a short, improvised exploration. For example, if your space is a couch, what are all of the ways that someone can sit on a couch? Play on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is entirely pedestrian, a very normal way to sit on a couch, and where 10 is a very abstract, dancey use of your space. Put on a song and explore this for the duration. And before you go, remember to join us next time to discuss audience and sightlines.